OK， 师傅好了。
I don't think he can hear us.
Okay, just let me let you know first so far who is on the line is Xu Zhen Ma. Okay, and then the little goat and George and there's Alex here. I'm not sure.
Alex.
And then the Simon Leong. Okay.
师傅 we can see them.
Hello.
We can see them.
Yes.
So we can see them. So you can go ahead and start your class.
Yeah, this is George.
Okay, all right.
谢
海瑞是你那个单子在你
谢了。好了 ，wait， Jing
They are here with the contact. Quit.
By the way, Sagarana, do you think you can turn the volume? Can you turn the mute unless they have question?
Yeah, Bande, do you know how to mute the microphone?
Right. That's right. This one.
The rest need to mute, but only, Sagarana, maybe you don't need to mute.
I did it.
He cannot hear me.
Okay. So anyway, first of all, say hi from the China, Guangzhou here, and it's about 7:36 a.m. now. If you have problem to hearing me, please just chat and tie up, because sometimes I can see the screen on and off. Okay. Right. Let's just start today. I think we will almost, even we can run a quicker one, is almost before finishing the whole text. Okay. So shall we just back to the last week we have done this the foundation of mindfulness with regard to the body. Now I think we can just go through it first. The contemplation of the feelings from the page 20. Okay. So please let's read together first. So shall we? And so if you look at it, the page 20, second paragraph, it has Romanized number 2, contemplation of feelings. Let's read it first. What is the foundation of mindfulness? That is contemplating feelings with regard to the feelings. A monk, when feelings are pleasant feelings, knows that he feels pleasant feelings. When feelings are painful feelings, he knows that he feels a painful feeling. When feelings are neither painful nor pleasant feeling, he knows that he feels a neither painful nor pleasant feeling. When a feeling, a bodily pleasant feelings, a bodily painful feelings, a bodily neither painful nor pleasant feelings, a mental pleasant feelings, a mental painful feelings, a mental neither painful nor pleasant feelings, a pleasant worldly feelings, a painful worldly feelings, a neither painful nor pleasant worldly feeling, a pleasant unworldly feelings, a painful unworldly feelings, a neither painful nor pleasant unworldly feelings, a pleasant feelings with desire, a painful feelings with desire, a neither painful nor pleasant feelings with desire, pleasant feelings without desire, a painful feelings without desire, a neither painful nor pleasant feelings without desire. He knows that he feels neither painful nor pleasant feeling without desire. Thus a monk contemplates internal feeling with regards to the feelings, contemplates external feeling with regards to the feelings, and establishes mindfulness of feelings, possession, knowing, seeing, understanding, and penetration. This is what is meant by a monk contemplates feelings with regards to the feelings. If a monk or nun does contemplate feelings with regards to feelings little by little, this is called the foundation of mindfulness. That is contemplating feelings with regards to feelings. Okay, we know that this is a passage about when we finish the difficult part, which is actually mostly people were attached to, or maybe easily people with regard to attach to, like the bodily sensation or the bodily, basically the material side of us, and not on its material side, the way that we attach to the body. Then now the mindfulness need to be established on the feelings. So this is what we call the contemplation of feelings. Okay, when you look at the list here that the feelings have, you can look at the list. The list is about the feelings first. You have to know the feelings first. Either the feelings are the pleasant or unpleasant, or neither pleasant nor not pleasant. Otherwise, you could say neutral feelings. And then also you could see that the next list is about the feelings with the three kind of feelings: pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. But this is a bodily pleasant feelings. And then that proceed to the mental, three kind of feelings too. And then after that, the mental one, and then you have the so-called worldly feelings. And also the worldly feelings also include the three types of it, the three types of feelings. And there are three types of feelings again in the unworthy feelings. And then also, the interesting is the next one is that the painful feelings with the desire, the three types of feeling with the desire or without the desire. So, it means, it is of course, traditionally, it is explained that when somebody who really can contemplate these, internal, external, we explained it already. In terms of internal, there are so many explanations, but in general commentary, explain internal mean yourself, external mean the other persons. But that doesn't sometimes, give a very satisfying explanation. And so usually also you can understand also by quoting other texts, and then we can prove that. And then the internal can refer to just mean, in relations to be something internal. For example, your consciousness as an internal, the object, of the senses of the object of the mind as external, So that might be make more senses, okay? But another way of explaining internal, external is you can understand that if you look at more like the commentary way of understanding it. So of course the internal means one person's, external means the other person's, okay? Okay, now it's believed that the contemplation of the body, those are very, very important because that's how the main thing that person are attached to and don't understand about. For example, the most common thing is attached to is that the beauty of the person, flesh, and also we are very much care about our body, like, we don't want to be get ill. It doesn't mean that you need to torture your body, but generally you don't want to get ill and all sorts of things. That is a one of the reflection. We know that we might be very much clean to the body. Actually, that was not only the case, but that would be the one maybe is much easier if we really to be down to earth, keep the awareness to ourselves. We always want ourselves to look beauty, and that's the reason why we can arise a lot of craving to us without awareing. Okay, if you're aware, maybe the craving doesn't go well. Doesn't go longer. But anyway, we are going to discuss it a little bit later. A little bit more later after when discuss a contemplation of the Dharma, then we will know. So anyway, the process is first the rougher part that is as a body, as a material. Many of them as a material, but then you proceed to only solely or merely just focus only on the feelings. So on the feelings, first step is accordingly, this is as supposed to be a meditator. We started to first know there's a feelings. The feeling is called is you must know there's a three kind of feelings. Of course, you might know there's a itching, there's itching, there's numb, there's so different types of feelings. But those feelings is, even though can be understood as the contemplation of feelings, but it looks like even in a Chinese version, but those things, it might be just to be understood as the contact, okay? That means when your mind have the awareness on your skin, for example, and then you might be aware there was some other itching and so on going on, like itching or numb or maybe some other let's say, different type of the kind of sensation. And then you might be, that is, you can understand it as that when your body have the contact, when you might have the contact with a certain part of the body, and then certain kind of the, you have the feelings because of the contact, and you have the feelings. So when you have the feelings, then the feelings here, you can understand the feelings here also. It's one way means like itching, for example, take itching as an example. But it is traditional way of believing, but it doesn't mean that you won't understand this at the earlier stage. But when you are really, really overcome this contemplation of the body, so you will move on to the contemplation of feelings, and you only know there were 3 types of feelings. That's the minimal first. So that is mean the feelings of the pleasure, the feelings of unpleasure, the feelings of the neutral. Okay, I think in general the feelings of the neutral are the most difficult one for people to detect, and also not only the most difficult one, because usually people, when they have a neutral feeling, they get fear because they might thought the body have some problem. So that's why that you don't feel any feelings on the neutral feelings. It's very common when people sometimes when they do meditation and feel that they feel like the body is not exist. You see, when a body while doing meditation, in feeling the body is almost like not exist. Some people, if they don't understand that it's as a sensation, they might be read it as the emptiness. Okay, this is actually one of the big fault of the people have the wrong view understanding of the emptiness. And then the second, or maybe people, because when they feel the whole body will disappear, one reason, I mean, I'm not saying the disappear is only that reason, but one reason why people feel the bodies become to disappear, almost as if like disappearing, it's because the whole body become neutral feelings. So, but if somebody, when their foundation is being, the mindfulness is being well established, they will just know that it's a neutral feelings. Okay. Okay. All right. So we know that there's, of course, it's much easier to know there's a painful feelings or unpleasant feelings. Okay. Now we are not going to dive with very long discussion. I'm sure that some of you here who've been joining our joining monastery. Sometime I was teaching the Abhidhamma course, the treatise of the Abhidhammas. It's by Vasubandhu, so they have a very, very detailed discussion from the Salavastivada perspective, and all this. But anyway, we are just roughly know for practical reason, just for the basic or simple version or the foundation or the rudiment version, is that firstly we have to know there's feelings, whatever kind of feelings, when you narrow it down, when you put it really become because Buddhism would never really reject the feelings, okay? Do not misunderstand the Buddhist practice like when you're a really good practitioner and then you don't know the painful feelings. And in other words, you don't know there's unpleasant feelings. You don't know there's so-called the pleasant feelings, and then there's so-called the neutral feelings. So in other words, I want to say that maybe some people might have this fantasy or a misunderstanding, thinking that someone, when they practice meditation, I mean, presuming like Arahant and the Buddha, so that Buddha will be almost like always a neutral feeling. That is a completely wrong view, okay? So if the Buddha is only only know the neutral feeling, and then the Buddha would become like a vegetable person, okay? And by the way, is it the sound is being switched off? The Sagaranda? Hello? Is it the Sagaranda side that the sound is being switched off?
No.
No.
No? Oh, it's very good. Everybody's so quiet.
Because we're listening.
Okay, good. Right.
Can you hear us? No.
Right. And
There's a
after...
delay.
All right, good. Thank you. So after when we have after knowing that only just any type of the feelings that say that any type of sensations, so like itching, numb, you know, I don't know how to say, like different type. I couldn't remember any type of, you know, there's so many different types of this kind of sensation. So it has to be ultimately that you only just know they are the feelings, but the feelings must be only just 3 types of it. There's a pleasant or unpleasant, and then the what we call this the neutral feeling. And then there also when person know that there are only 3 types. You know, for example, when you sit and doing sitting meditation, and when you're sitting there for a certain time, you feel painful. You might just know that is just only one of the. Maybe, you know, some people distinguish that as like, oh, my leg is going to break, or my blood circulation is not good, or my leg is hurting me. Those are actually still, you know, being influenced by what the Buddhism call the self-identity, psychiatry. Okay. You are still thinking about your body, you know, you have a wrong view about the body. You have the wrong view about the body, what are they? But if you just only, you might be, when you are doing a little better, you don't think it that way, you might be thinking like, oh, the feet, there are so many different sensations, I don't like it. For example, there's like, you know, pulling and like, what do you call? Like itching, like in the numbness, unconsciousness, you know, of the leg, you feel that. So those are, actually is a more rougher way of the understanding. But when you contemplate the really so-called contemplation of the feelings, and then you will just only know this is a pleasant feeling, this is unpleasant feeling, that's a neutral feelings. Okay. Now, so because the object is with the body, so that's the reason why it is called, when feeling a bodily pleasant feelings, basically he knows that is the feelings of bodily pleasant feelings. So in other words, you might be sit there, you know, you feel very joyful in the whole body, or even at any part of the body, maybe certain part of the body. So you just know it's a feeling. Is that it's a bodily pleasant feeling. Or some people feel the head a little bit like heavy. So of course, if you're observing the heavy, so accordingly it means you're observing these the elements, the characteristical elements, right? That in other words means your contemplation of the body. But if you're observing that there's itching, yeah, you maybe can say that your contemplation of the feelings. But I think sometimes not necessarily. Sometimes we can understand that if we look at to be more faithful to the text. That actually, even though you are observing the feelings, but then it still can be included in the contemplation of the body or the bodily feeling. Contemplation of the body, because we explained that in the previous chapter. But if you just say, if you feel the head, like you just know certain part of the head, it's not, you are not feeling only the heavy. You are not feeling the heavy, you are not feeling the itching, but you know there's a pleasant feeling. Certain part of the head you like it, certain part, let's say you feel the heaviness in certain part of the head. So you are not worried about your head is going to blow, explode, whatever. You are not thinking about your head is itching, but you just know there's a pleasant and unpleasant, on the head. So that is mean you are actually doing the contemplation, the bodily, the feeling, bodily. Painful feelings or the unpleasant feeling. Okay. So it's actually very interesting if you do meditation up to that stage. Or sometimes you can force your mind. When it's a force your mind, means when your mindfulness become very strong and established, you don't have to only observing the material as such a way, or as the body as a rotten one, or going to be fade away, or the body have different parts of it, or just observing the breath, or because observing elements. But you are also come to really understand the body can be just only purely feelings. Either the body have a pleasant or unpleasant or the neutral feelings. Like you sit there now, sometimes you don't feel the chair is comfortable, right? So sometimes you feel there is a feelings of the sitting on a chair, and you feel the touch. That is understood as a contemplation of the body. Okay. But if you feel that there's a like tickling on that, it's still according to the text. That is, even though it has a sensation, but it maybe have much to do with what we call this, what you understand the conditionality, that the tickling is a sensation which is come out of the contact. And then why you had a contact? Because when your mind, when your mind focus on your body. In other words, you're looking at the bodily consciousness arises. Okay, how this bodily consciousness arises because of the contact, and once there's a contact, they should have the feelings. Okay, so once there's a feelings, then there's a grasping. Then we don't go too far first. Up to that point, it means that there's a kind of tickling. Okay, but if you at a certain stage when your focus or mindfulness become much more stable, so you're sitting there, you can just able to aware, say that unpleasant feelings or the pleasant feelings, or some part is pleasant feeling, other part of your butt on the chair are unpleasant feelings, or some part you don't feel anything as a neutral feelings. Okay, this is just a very it's an example of like for the present right moment. So your focus is not necessarily only inclusive, not exclusive to the body, but it can be only just feelings. Okay, that's what we call the bodily pleasant feelings or neutral feelings or these unpleasant feelings. And what about the mental? And then you move on to the mental. Of course, you look at it. Firstly, you have to distinguish there are three types of feelings only, and then you're also able to distinguish the three types of feelings can be happening in the body. And then now there are three types of feelings that happens in the mental. So the mental is that you feel delighted. Okay, maybe in English you could say, and then undelighted or without delighted, or then you don't have either delighted or without delighted kind of mental feelings, right? Say that for the same example, like you're sitting there, you're on a chair, and then there's a body kind of sensation there that you just either you're agreeable or disagreeable. Basically, you're delighted or not delighted. But then you also can have a mental kind of sensation. Okay. So actually, the mental sensation is, if it relatively compare again for the rougher sensation to the subtle sensation, the mental sensation is more subtle, and the bodily is as the more rougher sensation. So, like when I sit on a chair, so I feel the contact, I feel this the hardness on the chair. When I only observe the hardness, it means I'm observing the material. But when I observe, there is a kind of like what we call, okay, say that there's a tickling, and then I'm observing almost like conditionality as well. Okay, but that is maybe a little rougher. But I also can just only observe. I don't not only the tickling, but I can observe only the bodily have the neutral. I'll say the neutral feelings, or say that I have these unpleasant feelings. Okay. However, even though I have unpleasant feeling with my bodily sensation, but if I look at my mind, maybe because of due to my craving and to show that I can sit there for a long time, but my mind can be pleasant sensation. Okay. So one is that you know your mind. The other thing is that what kind of sensation happen in your body. Okay. So then in other words, you are not just only knowing, you have three kinds of sensation, but sensation can be taken place, you know the sensation taken place, three types of sensation taken place in your body, and then three types of sensation taken place on your mental. If you want to compare, one is more general, the other one is more subtle because you know its body, but compared to the body to the mental, and then the mental is more subtle than the bodily sensation. Okay? Alright, now we come to another more difficult now. So actually, if you can contemplate this kind of feeling, you'll be very enjoying your meditation. Your mindfulness become much more strong. Your mindfulness become much more strong and powerful. That's the reason why it is called this satipatthana, because in other words, so when you place your mindfulness on that object itself, the mindfulness itself will become strong and become established again and again and again. Okay. All right, and then we move on. More subtle one that understand the feeling also have the worldly feelings, and then also has the unworldly feeling. But those who read Chinese still find it interesting term that they translate. But this is not my invention. Actually, if you compare to some other text, you do find sometimes the Chinese translate the word worldly, because those who know Pali, they know. But the word is mean flesh, kind of like, you know. Of course, that's a discount. Is one of the Pali term even is arguable too. But anyway, luckily we do have at least a commentary give us some guidance. Even though the Chinese would use 食 mean like a food, okay, but that also happened in some of the texts. So we can boldly, even though we are not 100% sure even so far, but for lots of studies, so we can quite almost there that to say that maybe it's equal to the Pali Marisa. Okay, it means so what we call the worldly and unworldly, you know. So then it looks like then the objects become much more maybe vast and also subtle in a way, because you started to understand there's a feelings that which is has related to the flesh. Okay, the kind of like what we call the mundane, kind of mundane. But mundane is not a good term too. But well, generally means you know that. Just let me see. So something to do with like the senses, okay, the five senses, especially, like you know, you sit on a very comfortable chair. Hello, Simon Leong. So we are on the page 20 still. We just finishing explain the other. We just start to explain the pleasant worldly feelings. Okay. So the worldly feelings refer to the flesh, like, you know, let's say you have a massage chair, you know, and you know that if it gives you some really really nice feelings of, because you have this worldly the lungs. Of course, the most common one is that when people having sex, right, and those kind of thing is called a worldly. So they have more like because of you have this instigation from the senses. So you see nowadays, of course, like when I'm in China this time, you know, when I go to the underground, the metro, you could see that. I mean, it's also very common happening in America, but I think in America, at least when they walk, not many people, but you could see that, but relatively, but not in China. When even people walking, they still looking at their iPhone. Not iPhone, the telephone, okay? And then nowadays, looks like every time they want to just chat to people, and they just type all the message here and there. You could see that what they are doing. Of course, you could just stand behind them. And then, you know, they always, all the time, to maybe use WeChat or whatever, they just chat to people. Some they watch the TV, some they are not just only listen to music. In earlier time, they only, you know, yeah, there are people only listen to music, but that's become unfashionable now. The fashionable one is that you have to look at the screen, okay? And of course, in other words, you could see the indulgence of this. There's a thing that, let's say you are really doing this and you're observing that you are indulge yourself in that. In those days, earlier time, they might have the phone and then they keep the phone on the ears and they just listen to the music, they don't look at the screen. So they might be just, that is a kind of worldly feelings, the pleasant feelings. Of course, sometimes when they listen to some song they don't like, and then there's unpleasant feelings. So that is just only one of the instigation. Many are the ear, the senses from the ear, consciousness. But nowadays, as I notice, I'm the one, I try to be, I mean, I have to say lucky, because sometimes it's good to see something not necessarily agreeable to you. I know that is when I have the agreeable to me, put it back, like that's what I'm observing myself as the what we call the mental, you know, mental unpleasant feelings because it doesn't agree with me. Okay, but it doesn't mean that I get angry. Okay? I just know I have this and disagree with me, because anyway, I don't want to put straight to the subject. The thing I want to say is that nowadays the people have. That's the reason why people get more depressed and much more anxiety. You know, it's they are not only just listen to the music, only sense. Now they even have to use the eyes consciousness to have this sense of gratification to be happy. But if you're aware it, this may be fine. But if you don't aware, when the mindfulness is not established, in other words, then you always just let the craving, carry on and without awareing it. Without the mindfulness, in other words, you could say. So what happened is that they had to based on two senses, very quickly here and there. So looking at the screen, and then listen to the music, or and all this, and even all when they're walking. So they keep themselves so busy. No wonder nowadays you have many more hyperactive children. I think for the karmic reason might be. In the future, these hyperactive children will be more than, even in the past, okay? Because this is a karma. If you look at it, it's like they build up this kind of, they don't want to stop. They don't want to really pause themselves. They don't want to really slow down themselves. And they just want their sense instigation more and more and more and more. Of course, why they have to be like that? Because they get a benefit from it, okay? That's how what we call the desire. All right. Just back to the worldly sensation generally, they refer to the senses instigation, the pleasant feelings or either the painful feelings or either there's a neutral feeling that come from the sense gratification. Okay. You might be asking, how can that have a neutral feeling for the sense for the senses gratification, right? Sometimes let's say you soak your leg on a hot water. It's too hot for you, you have the unpleasant feelings. Why you want to soak the water? Because you just want to have these, worldly, feelings. And then, but then when you're soaking water for such a long time, you don't feel a leg anymore. So, some people of course are afraid of it, but some people really enjoy that. Like the lake has you don't feel anything, even though you're on the hot water under the cold weather, right? Like when you go to a jacuzzi or something like that, say the open space, sometimes suddenly your body sensation go to just a neutral. That's what we mean by one of the called the neutral worldly one. Maybe you have a question later. Anyway, let me just finish that. Okay. The other thing is that then you move on to what we call the unworthy. Okay. The unworthy usually refer to the people in a higher jhana, or let's say the elites have this so-called the upajjhara samadhi. Okay, so you have a kind of jhana power. So that is called unworthy because that is definitely not normally experienced by people who are not, in a large, very small amount of people have those experiences. So, and those are those so-called unworthy. I'm sure that you know that already. Maybe people asking, the question will be, okay, that people can presume that when you have a jhana, say you have the first jhana, or maybe you have this upajjhara to access concentration like upajjhara samadhi, and then you should be feeling only the pleasant feelings. It's true. However, there are people who have a power because of the view, and because of many reasons, because Buddhism always talk conditionality. Maybe because of the view, because of many reasons, and then they just are not very happy with their jhana. Okay? Yeah, understand? Let's say some people even complain to me, even including the last retreat we have, the Force of Nine Abidings. So they say, even though the jhana sound very nice, I entered there and then but however, I feel bored. And that moment when they feel bored, it's because they have a wrong view. And of course that's Buddhism, that's a wrong view. They feel that, what use for that, So basically that is also the sensation of what we call unpleasant sensation in the worldly, in world.
他那边停，他那边不是我这边，他停。有点细。
Okay, the Sagaranda there, the groups, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So, and then you have this, what is it again? The worldly feelings, like maybe the question is, what is meant by the neutral feelings? For example, one of the example, like when person enters the fourth jhana, right? Enter the fourth jhana, so there will be like the neutral feelings there. But of course, it's not only that because you enter the fourth jhana. Sometimes when you have the jhana power, so you somehow while you are doing the mindfulness also, that you could feel there's a feelings. You don't feel any feelings, but you just know some of it is strange thing, like it's not pleasant, but it's not unpleasant. So that is also can be like a neutral feelings, you know, because we must understand actually even when person have the upajjhara samadhi, it means access concentration, they still able, actually they still have this kind of very small lightness here. Anyway, those are the deeper discussion in the future. But we just know that in general we define that when there's a neutral feelings, you know, those are one of them is mean the unworthy. Of course, the unworthy also can be understood like, you know, especially if the person who have attended Sotapanna, the stream enter, and either the stream enter or the what you call this once returner, non-returner, or even arahant. So they understand this as the unworthy feelings as well, because they say that the feelings is all with the mindfulness, with the wisdom, you know. So that also can be understood as unworthy. Okay. So it's different. It's not just really comes with the sense gratification, either because you feel the pain or the pleasure or the neutral, but you feel that really like what do you call? You feel it's different anyway. You still know the suffering, but this suffering or you might know the painful feelings or unpleasant feelings, but that the unpleasant feelings, it's not from the flesh. Okay? It's not from the senses, the sense gratification. I think it's maybe George. Can you mute it? Somebody who are online, can you mute it, please? Yeah. Unless the Sagaranda group, because it sounds like there's a disturbance noises. Hello, anyone online? Just try to mute it first. Unless the sound is still persists, or maybe Sagaranda have to switch it off it. You don't have to do that now. Now it's okay now. It looks like Sagaranda's side is very quiet. It's alright. Right, let's and then move on when we know there's a worthy and unworthy, you know, kind of three kind of sensation happen in the worthy or unworthy feelings. And then the last, I think it's the before last one. Then there are two types. One is that with the desire or without the desire. So I'm sure this is it's come with a much more deeper understanding, much more subtle understanding that whether that kind of sensation arises with attach, or you attach with the desire without attaching the desire. I think this is but if I'm not wrong, actually in Pali version we don't have this passage. Okay, I may be wrong, but I think I remember no, you don't have this passage in the Pali. Okay, all right. So that's how generally mean that then either internal or external. So as I understand, if internal in a way mean you're by yourself, and external and then as an object. Basically the object means the context start from what we have, you know, when you have the subject and object, and then you must have the context, then the senses will arises, you know. So in other words, you could understand the desire here is more like if you look at this Paticca means the dependent arising， 就触受爱取。我们一定有讲有这个五蕴六路触受爱取啊，六路就是 the six sense of the six senses, right? Six senses, and then you have this or maybe easier to say there's a subject and object, and then because there's a subject and object, there's a contact. Without a contact, then would not arise because of the contact. So because of this, there's a contact. Depends on the contact what arises. So the feelings arises or sensation arises. Because the sensation arises, the grasping arises. So here it looks like the further one is the painful feelings with desire, and this is you could understand that the desire refer to mean then you understand there's a grasping or without the grasping. Okay, get it now? Like the dependent arisings formula, the principle of dependent arisings, origination, dependent co-origination, dependent origination. That when there's a subject and object, there's a contact. When there's a contact, then there's a senses. When there's a sensor, there's a grasping. In Chinese 就是有一个就是有这个有一个主一个客啊，就是一个对境啊，一个主的，然后一个尘，我们叫根尘嘛，一个根一个尘，然后你就有这个触，有触就会有受，有受就会有爱，对不对？那么抱歉。I might be translated wrong. It's a craving. 有爱，所以这里的这个爱呢，就是指这个有没有这个 with desire or without desire. Okay. So just now I said it's not the not upadana, not the grasping. So when there's a contact, then there is a craving. No, the sensation. When there's sensation, there's a craving. When there's a craving, there's when there's a craving, there is the grasping. Actually, grasping we're going to learn it later. Okay. It mentioned that. Hello, understand what I mean? So then in the internal you meditate on such a way, the external you meditate on such a way. Actually you could say the internal and external, and then you look at it. There's also what does it mean by the contemplation of feelings? So internal with regard to feelings, contemplate external feeling with regard to feelings, and examine mindful of feelings, possession, then you know, you see it, you understand it, and penetration. Okay, so there are 4 steps go on. So this is how you understand the feelings, how you establish the contemplation of feelings. Okay. Any question first? Before we move on the contemplation of the mind.
I had a question about.
You have to unmute
Okay.
if you want to ask the question.
Okay.
Just click on the microphone icon.
Okay, it's okay now.
Yes,
Okay.
you might be good to say your name first.
Okay, it's
Yeah.
Yong. Your favorite
Yes,
student.
I can see you. Good.
Of pain in the
Thank you so
butt
much.
student. My question is, can you just tell me again about the contemplation feeling by themselves and the contemplation of the bodily feelings? Are you making a difference here? The contemplation feelings as feelings, and then the bodily feelings as a contemplation of bodily feelings. Is that 2 different things? Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, 2 different things.
Okay.
So you know there's a feeling. Say that we only talk about pleasant feelings. Okay, maybe easier to say. You know you feel pleasant. That is mean just a feeling, right? But you know that pleasant feeling comes from your body, right? And then you know your feeling comes from your mind.
Right.
And then you also know the feeling actually is to do with the worldly feeling. Like you eat ice cream, you feel happy.
Right.
Right. And then you also know that the pleasant feeling comes from your jhana,
Right.
or because you have a liberated mind. When your mind is really clean, right?
Right.
That means from the unworthy, right? And then you know that actually either they are worthy or unworthy, but you still have a desire without desire. Get it now?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So yeah, so all we talk about the pleasant. So say that you have the jhana, but sometimes you have the jhana, you can have it without desire. You have the pleasant feelings, right? But although you may also have the jhana without a desire, because you don't clean out the jhana, you just have the jhana.
Right.
Okay, so they're all pleasant feelings. The same thing to do, of course, to the two other feelings. So then, this is why if you look at when you're very good at it, with that also you can also understand why it's the end why you say the internal external, because one is that almost like this object, one is the other is as a subject. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
So that's why, but you cannot separate the two, because anything would not. When you have a sensation, there should be an object and a subject. Okay, this is why I explained that. Then you understand there should be the contact. Okay.
Okay.
And in the formula of dependent arising, there's a contact. Okay, because of the contact, so that definitely there's a sensation. That is what we're talking now. The sensation, meaning the pleasant or unpleasant or neutral feeling, right? But the last two that which with desire or without desire, you can understand as that's what with the craving or without the craving, in the dependent arising formula. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So this is why if you look at these 6 kind of steps, you find actually they become much more subtle and also more comprehensive at the same time. Okay. Okay. Right. Any other question with regard to the sensation, the feelings or sensation? Okay. Without that, now let's should you please read it? I can have a little tea myself. And the next paragraph is page 22. Okay. The contemplation of mind. So please, I think especially the group on Sagalanda side, can you read that? Okay.
What is
So
the
the three,
foundation
contemplation
of
of
mindfulness? That
mind.
is contemplating mind with regards to the mind. The monk knows as it actually is. Mind with desires, mind with desire. He knows as it actually is. Mind without desires, mind without desire. With hate, without hate. With delusion, without delusion. With defilement, without defilement. Contracted, distracted, inferior, superior, little, great, cultivated, uncultivated, concentrated, not concentrated, having a not yet liberated mind. He knows not liberated mind as it actually is. Having a liberated mind, he knows liberated mind as it actually is. Thus a monk contemplates internal mind with regards to the mind, contemplates external mind with regards to the mind, and establishes mindfulness of mind, possessing, knowing, seeing, understanding, and penetrating. This is what is meant by a monk contemplates mind with regards to the mind. If a monk or a nun thus contemplates mind with regards to the mind, little by little, this is called the foundational mindfulness, that is contemplating mind with regards to the mind. Okay, thank you so much. Okay. Now we move on to the mind, and I'm sure that after reading this, we definitely sense that, so far this is now become the really, really much more subtle. It's not about just the feelings now, okay, not only the sensation now. So I look at the list first, and there is someone that, what is meant by contemplation of mind? So he know actually, it means the same thing and anything the previous two, right? He know actually how the body is, and he know actually how the feelings is. Now he know actually what the mind, whether the mind with or without the desire. So, and this is, previous one we know that there's a sensation whether the sensation combined with the desire or without desire. But now you must know that whether the mind only come with the craving or without the craving. Okay. Say that people offering you food, say the ice cream. We know that you like the ice cream. You have this desire sensation. I mean, let's say they have a pleasant feeling with the desire because you want it. Not what you want it anyway. There's a desire there anyway.
And say that you might be eating ice cream, you have a painful sensation because you don't like that kind of taste. You don't like mint, for example, the mint ice cream, the flavor. But still you desire the ice cream, right? You know what I'm saying? So let's say you're eating and then your tongue actually eating the ice cream because it's so cold, and then your tongue don't feel anything. I'm sure that because I like ice cream, so I know what happened. Okay. So that's why practices can happen in everything, every time, all the moments. Okay. Say sometimes when you eat the ice cream, they're so cold, and then it affect your body, right? So and then I could feel my tongue, no feelings, right? Numb. So it's a neutral feeling. So, however, even the neutral feeling is there, that is you can understand as the earlier stage mean I know the neutral feelings, but the later stage I know there's a neutral feeling because of bodily neutral feelings, okay, with my tongue, eating the ice cream is so cold. And the other one is that I also can have the neutral feelings even if I do further. So my tongue is so cold, I don't feel anything with my tongue, I don't have any feelings with my tongue. However, I still with the desire because I really love ice cream, you know. It's something to do with the view, of course. I mean, there's a desire there. So I'm not going to talk too further first, but you know, it's exactly there. Now, but then if you really meditate on your mind, so contemplation of mind, then you don't have to think about, nothing. You don't have to contemplate or focus or your mindfulness. No, you don't have to be aware the sensation or feelings, but just only the desire. Okay. Okay. So if I only just focus on my desire, even my tongue the ice cream was so cold, my tongue was at least there's a few moments, okay, few seconds, something like that. My tongue was really numb, and then I have a neutral feelings. So with the desire, you know, I'm eating the ice cream, okay? And so that's how I contemplate my mind. Without the desire, it's like, you know, I just eat it. I mean, my mind sometimes I have to eat it with the desire, sometimes I eat it without the desire. I'm talking about even the process, I'm still doing it, but sometimes I can have some other mind eating my ice cream, okay? Even I have a neutral feeling. So, and then when my focus, my mindfulness are established on the mind without a desire, and all and I know it. And when when I eat it without desire, then I know it also. Okay, at that time I don't have to focus much already with my sensation. I don't have to know whether it's neutral feelings or the pleasant feeling, unpleasant feelings. And also, I also know it can eat it with a hate or without a hate. Okay, with a delusion or without a delusion. The delusion, I mean, in general, being understood, delusion means whether you're aware or not. You know, sometimes we are like a how to say, like a drowsiness. You just eat with the desire, but you don't know you have a desire. You know, and either you don't know there's a sensation, or either you don't know there's actually you have a bodily sensation or mental sensation. Because I'm eating ice cream, or I don't know actually I'm chewing, I'm biting, actually the ice cream have this kind of coldness or hotness as elements, right? I don't have this awareness. That means the delusion. Okay. So I can eat it with the delusion or without the delusion. Okay. Sometimes I feel it, sometimes I don't. So when my mind get confused, my mind was not focused, when I don't know that I need to establish the mindfulness, and then even though my mind may be frustrated with the greedy, let's say, oh, I want to finish this ice cream. Actually my eye was looking at the scoop of ice cream because I'm eating the mint. I don't like it. Actually, I rather want to have a chocolate one, for example. So if I aware that my mind was thinking that I have the desire with the chocolate one, that is basically mean you know that you have a desire, and then but of course you also can be understand that you have You aware it also. Okay, that's what we understand. The second one, understand what you mean by the delusion. It means that you know that you actually wanted the chocolate. It become because it's a delusion generally, and because you have a craving that makes you to think that you want a chocolate. Okay. Let me see what else. Okay, with the defilement, without the defilements, let me just check it. The defilements and then the basically mean whether you've been attached, you have a tent or without a tent. Those who study the Saravastiva, the Abhidhamma, you must, if you don't know the list of the tents, okay, or you can understand the defilements or the so-called the Sui Mian or the Anusaya, means the procreativity, okay. And we're going to discuss that a little bit later because when we talk about the Dharma, generally you know that whether your mind being tended or without the tent, just like a cloth, right? When you have smear with some dirt on your clothes, you just feel like, oh, my clothes been, not very nice now because been tended. Oh, now my clothes is okay because there's no any things or any fur or any dirty thing, on my clothes, like that. So you purely know your mind, whether you're tended or tended. Let's say, so, whether you have this wrong way of thinking, whether you have the, so understand, wrong way of holding wrong view, or because you have anger, and like that, whether it was without an anger or with an anger. So when you look at the list, you will see, first you know whether you have desire without desire, and then you know whether you have anger or no anger, and then you also must know whether you are awareness or without awareness, okay? Whether you are knowing what you're doing or don't know what you're doing, what happening, or whether you know what happening or not happening. So, and then also then you will know, because those are the basic things, and then you come to know the mind whether you have been something, hooked with that, or something bad thing, or like a tent, something sting on the mind, or without just sting on the mind, something sting the mind, or something without stinging the mind. And then you have this contracted, distracted. Basically means you could find that you are much easier to be gathering your mind, or you don't easily find the gathering your mind, okay? So, in other words, let's say you have a confusion mind, but you easily to gather your mind together. And then you have a confused mind, sometimes you find you don't easily gather together. It has to be like a scheduling away, okay? And then you also now have an inferior and superior mind, mean now this mind is better now other mind is not better now, okay? But sometimes we commentary maybe understand also, especially when I say commentary only the Pali, so we can understand the inferior and the superior as mean when you have a jhana mind or when you don't have a jhana mind. But I think even though the commentary says so, but it maybe generally can be understood better to say that one mind is better than the other, okay? So one mind is better than the other, so the inferior and superior mind. But if it, in a more restricted sense, especially when your jhana is very powerful, of course, this is for people who are really highly, really, really good at jhana, then you understand that as when you have the focus and when you have a jhana mind or without a jhana mind, okay? Or in general understand as when you have a less better mind or the better mind, or even the worst mind, like that. So there's inferior and superior. The inferior superior is all relative sense, okay? And you have the little mind and the great mind. So the little mind means your mind is not very vast. Say, I care some other person, but it's just a little, like that. But, if you care a person more, and also, say, like a loving kindness mind, metta, and then it can be manifold, everyone, that's meant by the great, okay? As I say, sometimes the great also little, sometimes also can be understand, not like a jhana too. So when you have a much powerful meditation, like the little refer to when you have the little concentration, like the first jhana, second jhana, third jhana. But when you have a fourth jhana, especially the arupa jhana means the jhana have the formless one, so it means great, okay? But if you have the immeasurable mind, it's called a great mind. According to the Pali Abhidhamma, of course, the little and the great refer to the higher jhana. So the great refer to the mostly like this arupa jhana, means the jhana that is the formless one. So, but anyway, so in other words, so those people who practice a force abiding meditation, they know the little refer to mean your mind is just, let's say, just wish one person to be one happy, but the great it can mean the big and vast, like all directions, a big group of people, so they'll call the great mindful. And then of course to understand, then you also understand whether your mind, really truly understand the mind, whether it's cultivated and uncultivated. Okay. So in other words, you are not in the delusion, you generally very well know. So your mind is whether it is being cultivated now, is not cultivated now. So it's a part of practice. Like people, sometimes they meditate, they find that, oh, I'm doing quite okay at the time, it's cultivated. And sometimes they find, I don't know why today I just get really, really pissed off everything. So then if you investigate the whole day, you don't have any problem that you feel like you are not cultivated, but it just comes to you. Of course, Buddhism believes there's a cause and effect. It must be the reason. But when your mindfulness is not very powerful, come to the contemplation of Dharma, that we are going to talk later. So you only know that your mind is uncultivated. So that's why, those who have learning the meditation, especially the Satipatthana or the so-called insight meditation, sometimes when they have the Q&A, sometimes I will sit there, I can hear the people say, oh, today I have a bad meditation. And then, sometimes the Shiman will say, you guana, just ask you to observe it. But they will say, no, I just don't like it, I'm not good, maybe I'm not good in meditating. So, but then the answer would be, ni ju guana. So it means you have to observe it, but still but there are lots of ignorant people, I hear that. I sometimes want to laugh, but of course, I need to learn very patient and not to laugh. To be mindful with my mind, and the people otherwise hate me. Who is that man sitting there laughing at me, Because actually to me I understand. That's very clear, the message just observe this is uncultivated mind. Okay. Do they know? They don't know. And they just want, and do they know? They don't know. They still want to have a desire mind. What kind of desire mind? The desire mind is just now, they don't even know they have the awareness. They have still with the delusion. Okay, that's fine. If they know I have a delusion, then okay, they don't know. And also they don't know they have the desire too, right? They have the desire. Okay, they don't know that even, if you don't want to observe only the contemplation of mind, what they observe, you can observe the sensation. I have unpleasant feelings, right? Or at least, if you're good, I have unpleasant feelings with the desire, okay? So they don't. And what about if they don't contemplate the mind? They can contemplate the sensation just I mentioned. But if they don't want to contemplate sensation, they can contemplate this, what we call this, the material, the body. The body is like, and I just say that, I just know my actions. I just know, there is something when I'm not happy, but I still can know the breath is changing, or I can see the wind, I can feel the wind or whatever. But they don't want to do that, and then they feel sad. And then they feel sad. That's okay. If you feel sad, if you observe that I'm sad, at least you still are in the contemplation in the body. Even though it's much to do with the feelings, but because you are not really only down to a contemplation, the feelings as the like unpleasant feeling, but you just know sad, right? So, and they don't want to even observe that too. So, and then they get confused, and then they will get discouraged, and all this good dharma will goes away. Okay. Did I explain your question now? When you're doing meditation, why you have this? Sometimes when I sit there, I just want you to laugh. But actually, maybe somebody will say, why don't you tell me I have to observe this or that? No, you have to know right now, either because that in the category of the contemplation of mind, or category of contemplation of sensation, or category of contemplation of the body, it still is a contemplation. It means the sati, the mindfulness. Okay. Of course, you're not doing like that. Now I'm doing contemplation of mind now. So no, you don't do that. If you have this kind of idea, of course, you can have this kind of thought comes to you. That's what we call in the later tradition is that's what we call you meditate on. You have a contemplation. The wisdom comes from your reflection because you know, oh, I need to back to my reflect on my mind. That remind you. But when you really observing your mind, you don't think that way. Okay, I'm reflecting my mind now. I'm reflecting my mind. I'm reflecting my mind. That is delusion also. Okay. So you don't. So you only just know that. Oh, now I don't have I have uncultivated mind. Okay. Or you could say untrained mind, basically. Okay. The trained mind or untrained mind. And also the next one is very important also. The next two is concentrated and not concentrated. Okay. So those are actually the further step. So, okay, back to that again, the mind means with the desire, without desire, with hatred, without the hatred, with delusion, without delusion. And then now you know there's something where they associate with the mind, like whether something attached to the mind, which is a bad one, or without something that attached to the mind, you know, what we call the defilement, the tended mind, or without tended mind. And then you know whether you can easily gather your mind or not easily gather your mind, right? Hello? Are you sleeping now? Very boring. I don't know. I think it must be very exciting things, but I mean, maybe some people feel it very boring. Basically, that you know that whether you can gather your mind easily without gathering your mind easily, and you start also to know there is the relative sense of the mind. That is the higher jhana or lower jhana, or basically the better mind or not the better mind. Okay. But you might be not very clear what mean by the better mind, not bad. But you know there's a mind, this mind better than that mind, the mind is that this. It is not judging, but you are having the very analytical kind of observance, kind of that you really clearly know much more the detail of the quality of the mind. And then you also know whether your mind is small or big. But as I say, the small big can be understood two ways. One is mean your mind is just focus on a person, or you can focus on lots of person. Or in other words, mean the greater, or the maybe some very mundane language which I hate it, but I don't like it. But you know, like maybe a little like energy, kind of like energy become bigger or smaller. Okay. So, or you can understand as that because your jhana is much deeper, or your jhana, your jhana state is much deeper, not deeper. And then you also know whether your mind has been cultivated or not cultivated. And then the next two is that you know that whether your mind is with the distraction or without distraction. Okay. So of course those are the still interchangeable understanding. Then the distraction mind means the unconcentrated mind. Without distraction mind is concentrated mind. And then you also know whether your mind has been liberated or not yet liberated. For example, when especially people who do this force of mind abiding meditation. So can you do as an inside meditation? Yes, sometimes you're doing it, but you also can just focus on it when you're very good at the force of mind abiding meditation. So like, you know, when your mind out of the hatred or out of the hatred, that means the liberated mind. Okay, whether your mind is out of the delusion or out of the delusion, it means the liberated mind or without liberated mind. Whether your mind is out of this desire or out of the desire. For example, when you're still you have a desire thing and out of desire, so it means you're having this. You understand the mind is called the liberated mind or not liberated mind. Okay. So then this is how you also know the subject and the object of when you're observing. I mean, this is definitely the subject object here. It's very clear. It's purely mental. Okay. That means I observing this kind of mind. Okay. So you could say your mind, if you look at the six senses, is the internal you can understand as the consciousness or what the mano dhatu. It means the mind, the base of the mind, and then observing the object of the mind. Okay, that means the object of mind as a thought. Okay, or anything that only purely in the thought. So it's nothing to do with the material. So this is mean the contemplation of the mind. Okay. internal and external. All right. Looks like I thought we are going to finish the contemplation of Dharma also, but looks like we have only. Am I right? We have 15 minutes on it, right? So okay, let's. Do you need a pause or don't need it? Hello? Do you need a break or without?
Yes.
I think we don't need a break, but of course, if you want to have a break, we should have a break. Hello?
7:45。
7:45了。I don't think there's
之前的嘛，对吧？
No,
就
we don't need it.
Okay, we don't need a break. Do you have questions first with that, please? Yeah. Either online or either, Sagananda there, I mean the classroom there, whether you have the questions or anything is not clear, or I speak too much, you fall asleep, you want to make a complaint before observing your mind of sensations.
So, hello, this is Russell.
Yes.
So what you're saying, if I understand, is that in order to, through practice, you can train and cultivate your mind to be kind of liberated from these various things like delusion and distraction and so forth. And you must train your mind. Is that what you just were saying?
Sorry, I didn't hear clearly, but let me just repeat what I hear. You just said that cultivation of the mind, but I didn't get it, the next question. So.
Oh, okay. No, I just wondered whether I heard correctly. You said that you have to practice in order to cultivate your mind.
Yes.
Okay.
And
also in order to not be in the delusion and distraction and so forth. So it's mental, right? A mental training.
Yeah, you don't want to put that away. If you put it away, you want to put it away, it means you still have a desire.
Okay.
If the desire arises, you know it's arised. When the desire is not arised, then you know it's not arised. That is first step. Then the further step, you would know when the desire arises, it has gone, then it means that you have this liberated mind from the desire. So when the desire still not, it have arise, hasn't gone yet, then you know that it's a liberated mind. And it's not a liberated mind. So still, it's not, so your mind is still not liberated from a desire. Yeah.
But you can only do this for yourself, right? You can't do for other people.
Well, accordingly, yes. If you're very deep in jhana, because last class, remember the last book we read. If you are, that's the reason why different traditions have different explaining. Because if you have a very deep jhana, one of the knowledge you will develop. Remember, we learned the Sarvastiva, the Abhidhamma. There were 10 kinds of knowledge. One knowledge is you bound to have is to read other people's mind. The Paratita. Those people, when you learn that read other people's mind, you have to practice not only reading your mind, but you have to read other people's mind. It's not just to judge other people. Just same thing, you don't judge yourself because you know what's happening. So the same way, when you read other people's mind, you will observe how other people also, whether now they have a liberated mind, not liberated mind, a focused mind, not focused mind, and desire and so on. Yeah, that's mean for the other. That's one of the explanation. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Because I see that screen is flow. Okay. So that is mean by that. But as I say, that's a commentary way of, and also it is when you have a higher jhana, you are encouraged to do so. Okay.
Okay.
So, and if you don't have the higher jhana, it's been understood the internal and external. The internal means the consciousness itself, the awareness itself. The thought itself is the object, mean the external. The thought. Let's say I'm sitting and thinking what I'm thinking, right? That aware, the very right moment that I know what I'm thinking, that is there's an object. I mean, I'm thinking. The second is I know what I'm thinking. So the object is the external.
Thank you. Okay, so
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Yes, I do have a question. So, does it matter how long would it take from one step to the next step, like from present feeling to happiness?
Actually, according, of course, according to the book, when you look at the last of it, I'm talking about text now first. Okay, since we're reading the text, we have to faithful to the text first, and then we can have a discussion on other things, right? This is almost like our first source first, and especially now we're reading a Chinese one. We have to based on the. This is actually is one way to learn how you learn how to read a Buddhist text. Okay, sutta. So since we're reading a Chinese one, we still have to base on Chinese how we look at it. So it looks like the Chinese one say that this thing you can establish either 7 years, the longest, and then you can at least you certainly can be achieved for the second fruit. That's what if you look at the translation page 26, right? So page 26, the second paragraph. If a monk or nun advises on her mind would dwell properly in the 4 foundations of mindfulness for 7 years, he or she will definitely attain 1 or 2 fruits, either attaining the final wisdom here and now mean the Arahant, or if there is a residue, attaining the state of non-returner. So in other words, you could do it either 7 years to 6 to 5 to 4 to 3 to 1 year, even up to 1 day.
Maybe we should try.
You haven't tried yet?
No, not this one. Not the super speed Satipatthana.
But I have to say that this is what I want to say, if you have a very correct understanding, and then you know what you're doing, and you're very sincere about the doing, and you practice all the time in all the moments, and then when you can establish the 4 foundation of mindfulness, and then you can be Sotapanna right away. So, maybe that's why I remember what we said. That's usually if you look at our mind, look at our way, lots of people first, they don't know there's a method. Second, they might know the method, they don't know what they should look for more. They always, been carried away by without knowing they don't establish the mindfulness, And when I'm saying they establish the mindfulness, I mean the establish the mindfulness on what? On the 4 foundation of mindfulness, okay? They need to establish the mindfulness on the 4 objects, either the mental, either the feelings, either this, and the feelings, what does it mean by feelings? What does it mean by the mental? What does it mean by the material? What does it mean by Dharma? You need to know well, okay? So, but if you can, that's why the famous simile, one of the connected discourse say that, so if the people know it well, and if they can work diligently, just like the king say, if you spill water, when they put the water on top of your head, you walk, like, Indian people, especially in those days. So if you spill 1 drop of water, I'm going to cut your head. If you can work so diligent like that, that's why the Buddha always said diligent. 就是进群啊. The diligent means the mind, the mindfulness. So actually, you could say diligent in the 2 things. One is being the right comprehension and right mindfulness. The right comprehension is we also discussed actually previous time already. 就正知正见嘛，正念跟正知嘛，if you forget it, you might be read it. Even the Chinese also mentioned this. So if you can really work very diligently, and then so like a king, say that if you spill 1 drop of water, so I'm going to kill you. So what he do is he walk from one distance to another distance without spilling the water, can walk diligently. He can attain the Arahant. Okay, even Arahantship, but at first he was attain the string enter. So that's the reason why people who know the Satipatthana, the foundation of mindfulness practice, and they know well and they practice, at least time to time, it is believed that even though you might not be able to attain at the right, now and when, maybe right now, but on the verge of dying, because you care about yourself, you know that you have to abandon everything, you don't have to attach anything. Not the name, not the fame, not the body, not this and that, because you cannot attach body anymore, because you're going to die. So that's why lots of stories say on the verge when they can build up the diligence, when the people remind you, you need to build up the impermanent idea. Anyway, we are talking this maybe later more when you say the contemplation of Dharma. So, and then they attend the arahantship at the last, even the Sotapanna ministering mentor at the last moment when they die, before the last breath, right? But if you don't know this method, you never have this at all. Don't think about it. There's no way, no possible. Buddhism talk about wisdom. And then this is how you build up the wisdom. When we come to the next topic about the Dharma, we will know more. All right, we almost have 5 minutes.
Hi, Wangzhou.
Hello. So, and you can ask a little question. I think we don't want to move on the Dharma now. We serve for the Dharma after the New Year and Christmas, So, and before the Christmas and New Year, any questions? I really need to wish you all have a Merry Christmas and New Year. So, and any questions first?
This is Yang, and it seems like
Yes.
the mind, contemplation of mind, emphasizes so much on the mind and the liberation of the mind. It seems like it talks.
No. Okay.
It talks more about the emphasis on
No,
the
it's not.
mind states of liberation.
No. It's not only the liberation of the mind. No. It's not only liberation of the mind. You have to look at the system.
As a whole
Okay,
system.
maybe. Okay, just let the one. Remember the end of the ones. Usually because we attach so much of the body. So when you contemplation to the body, up to the point you understand you will be die one day, and then the body will be just go like nothing, right? So it's believed that kind of realization will make you to be only focused purely on your sensation. Okay. So when you look at the list, when you go to the sensation, there are so many different types of sensation. But ultimately, if you understand, there's a sensation without, either you have a sensation with the desire or without a desire, right? Mm-hmm. So, and then you almost like, then your focus will be more on the desire part, okay? So that's purely the mind. So when you contemplate that, or when you contemplate or when you observe only purely the mind, you look at that, the mind also, then there's so many types of the mind that can happen. I mean, you can have a desire mind and so on. But how to then you know whether your mind is whether liberated from what the desire is about or without a desire, or from whether you have a delusion or without a delusion, or whether you have the anger without anger, right? Mm-hmm. So that's why you come to liberation. Only when you come to that part, and then we move on to understand the contemplation of the Dhamma, because you are really can completely give up this idea attached to the. I was at the attachment like just only focus on the previous one you're familiar with. You will come to really understand the 6 senses and how these 6 senses, have infatuated with the tense, with the what we call this anyway, we are going to discuss that a lot later on that. This is a big topic. So the next week, after New Year, will be a big topic. But anyway, you understand much more deeper about the Dharma.
Thank you.
So that's why it's called the contemplation of the Dharma. Okay. You can see this gradually going on. That you become much more subtle and subtle understand the whole thing. Yong, do you get it now?
Yes. Yeah. It's interrelated. So.
Okay, that's very good. Anyway, so I'm in China. I wish you all a very nice day in America, or in America anywhere. Okay, anyway, so far you know that you can contemplate your mind, you can contemplate your sensations, and then you also can know that whether there's a good and bad, and then you can contemplate your material. So if you really one day, either whether this life or the next life or the future life, and even though if you want to become a Buddha, not become, one day, the Buddha said already, there is no way that you don't need this foundation of mindfulness. It's always, all from the future to the past to the present Buddha, all have to base on this foundation of mindfulness. Okay, so I wish you, at least when you are not happy, when you're happy, if you can just build up this kind of foundation of mindfulness on those 4 things, even though you didn't know the last one, but even if you know one is will makes your life much happy already. But if you know the 3 foundation, foundation mindfulness on what on the 3, so you will have a wonderful Christmas and Happy New Year too. Okay.
Thank you.
Anyway, so I wish you all the best for your New Year and Merry Christmas. I will see you when I will be there on 19 anyway. So I will see you all the time if you meet on New Year or any other days. And thanks for attending the class. So the last thing is that I last to call supporter to make a transfer marriage and will be end the class. Thanks for your coming.
อาคาสัทธาชบุมมัทธาเดวานากามหิดดิกาปุญญังทังอนุโมดิตวาจิรังรักขันตุศาสนังจิรังรักขันตุเดสนังจิรังรักขันตุมังปรัง
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu. Anyway.